I decided to put together some tips that I feel are essential for new or even existing players of SnowRunner. I'm by no means an expert, and there's still a ton of stuff I don't really understand, but there are definitely some things I've learned over my 300 plus hours playing the game, and I'd like to share them. This is something that I think all new players should be aware of. Veteran players most likely know about this already, but I happen to find out about it because I sometimes use a Logitech G29 steering wheel. In the settings on the game tab, you will find a setting for steering mode that you can set to steering wheel or controller. I would recommend setting this to steering wheel even if you don't have a wheel or plan to use one. This setting essentially changes the way your steering reacts. If it is set to controller, you have to manually steer the wheels back to set them straight again. When it is set to steering wheel, they automatically correct themselves back. In my opinion, that's how it should work. I feel the settings are backwards or at the very least misleading. When using a wheel, you have to correct the wheel back straight, but with a controller, when you let go of the analog stick, it should automatically right itself. The settings just seem backwards to me. I only figured this out back when I would play without my wheel and the setting was still on, and in talking to a friend, he was confused as to why I didn't complain about how the steering worked. But once I figured out what was going on, he changed his setting and was blown away at how game-changing it was. Another quick little tip I have here is when you're finished with a region and you want to maximize your money, go around and pick up all the trailers. You can usually pick up 2 trailers at once, especially if there is only a trailer store, like one trailer store in the map, or it's just far away and the trailers are all far away. If you have one trailer attached and then just winch another trailer to a trailer store, you can get 2 trailers sold at once. I mean, obviously you'll have to sell the trailer that's attached, then attach to the second trailer, then sell that trailer. But in doing so, you can usually get another easy 50K, sometimes even more. And I mean, that can make a huge difference in the amount of money you're making throughout your game. Now, if you are 100%ing every region, you're going to have tons of money. Even by the end of Alaska, you'll have tons of money. But, it's just a way to make more money. And there's a bunch of trailers that are just littered around the map that are just there. You don't actually buy them. They're just sitting around the map to find and use. And you can sell most of them. There are some that you can't sell. They're like required for tasks or contracts, and it won't let you sell them even after you complete the task. But even still, you can sell all the ones you can, and you'll just make some extra money. In addition to trailers, if you need fuel and you aren't near a fuel station, or you can't recover to a garage because you have cargo but you have a trailer store nearby, you can buy a fuel trailer, use it to fuel your truck up, and then sell it back for the same price you bought it for. Obviously this won't work in hard mode as you can't sell trailers, but it's just a quick little tip that you can use in the instance where you can't recover to a garage or you're not near a fuel station. Planning out your routes in SnowRunner is absolutely essential. If you don't know about maprunner.info, then I'd suggest checking that out as well. There's a link in the description of all my SnowRunner videos for it. It's just a website where it has all the interactive maps. You can see pretty much everything on a map. You can see any upgrades that don't show up from watchtowers. You can see any tasks that don't show up from watchtowers. You can see what's required to do a task, or to unlock a task, or to unlock a contract. Pretty much anything. It's pretty amazing. It has all the vehicles, tells you every statistic of the vehicle, where you can get the vehicle, all that stuff. It's a great website. The guy that made it is incredible. I don't know his name, but whatever. Use the website. It's awesome. The most important thing to do, in my opinion, when you are on a new map is to use your best scout vehicle and work your way around the maps, removing the map fog with watchtowers and driving down any routes that aren't cleared by the watchtowers, meaning any road that is still covered by a gray area or is completely black. Drive down that road and make sure there is no hidden task or even a hidden upgrade. Use this opportunity as well to pick up any tasks you come across, as once you pick up the task, it will be in your task menu and you can view that there and see what you need for the task and where you need to go. This way you can plan out a route to tackle multiple tasks at once. The best way to play SnowRunner, in my opinion, as well, I say my opinion a lot, but the best way to do it is to try and plan out your tasks and your contracts as to where you do one task, you pick up whatever you need, take it to where you need to drop it off. If whatever is nearby that drop-off point you need for another task, pick up the stuff there, then take it to complete that task. You always want to try to be maximizing your route to where when you drop something off very close by, or even in the same place, you can pick up stuff for another task and just continue that cycle so that you're not backtracking. You want to minimize your amount of backtracking. It will reduce the amount of frustration, I promise you. A couple of great scouts that are obtainable in the base game are the International Loadstar 1700, which can be purchased immediately when in North American region, and the Tuz 420 Tatarin that can be found in Tamir on either Zimnogorsk, you can find it in the woods, I will show where that is, or in Rift. It is part of a task in Rift, so you technically get 2 on Tamir, so you can keep one, sell one, whatever you want to do. The Tatarin is an absolute overpowered beast for a vanilla scout. It cannot, however, tow any trailers, and it doesn't have any snorkels, so water is kind of really bad for it. So it definitely has its downsides, but I mean, aside from that, it's incredible. The thing is like unstoppable. It's amazing. So if you just need a scout to be able to drive around the map and, you know, get watchtowers and collect tasks to then complete with a different truck, it's definitely a good one for that. I prefer using the F750. I like the vanilla truck, but this modded one is just really fun to use. It has a lot of cool options for the truck bed and everything. I'll talk more about that when I talk about mods. But anyway, scout your maps, plan your routes, reduce your frustration. This next couple tips I don't really have specific clips for, so we're just going to stick with this clip here of me just scouting out Zimnogorsk. But tires are still something I'm learning as well, even with 300 plus hours in the game, which by most veteran standards is pretty low. The beginning of the game is meant to be a struggle. The trucks you start with are only going to have highway tires, and you don't even unlock off-road tires until level 11, and mud tires until level 13. Michigan is only hard in the beginning because you don't have the tires to make it easier, but as I have just mentioned in the previous tip, planning your routes and scouting is extremely important, especially early game when you don't want to get stuck in the mud without mud tires. Pretty much any of the tires are going to be garbage on pavement. SnowRunner's physics just does not like paved roads. At a higher speed on any tires, it feels like you're driving on ice, and it only gets worse as you go up through the tires. Mud tires handle like you're driving on lubed up concrete, but again, the point of this game is off-road driving, so to me that's not a big deal, and it's easy to manage by just not driving full out on the roads. Off-road and mud tires are the only way to go, and I rarely use chains on the snow maps because they're just not worth it most of the time. Chains are awful in mud and really only help you on asphalt roads that are icy. Typically, if you can ride the edge of a road with mud tires, you can get up asphalt roads without any issue. I'd avoid chains at all costs if you can, but if you want to give them a try, by all means go for it. There are also definitely some mods that add tires that are extremely OP and have ignore ice enabled on them, but those just feel super cheaty and it kind of sucks all the fun out of the game. When it comes to gears, I typically like to use off-road gearboxes if available, but really as long as it has 3 low gears, that's all I really prefer. Acceleration and top speed aren't super important, but being able to control your speed, especially when in mud, is great. If you can see your tires spinning and kicking up mud or water, then you need to shift into a lower gear. Usually low is fine, but sometimes low minus is necessary. Low plus is nice if auto is spinning, but low feels a little bit too slow. Just keep your tires from spinning and you'll always be moving forward in mud. There is also a trick that you can do to manipulate when your truck shifts gears. If you tap your clutch button, the truck should upshift or downshift to an appropriate gear for the situation. Like if you're going up a hill and your truck seems to slow down, tap your clutch and it will downshift rather than completely stall or shift all the way down to first gear. I'd also really strongly suggest a wheel shifter setup if you have one. You can map your gears to a shifter and it makes it super easy to shift to different gears. There's still no full manual gear setup though, but it's still nice to be able to shift into low quickly or even reverse, and the clutch tap still works either with your clutch pedal or with the left paddle on the wheel. I do also have a video on where I show my gear mappings for my shifter. I don't remember off the top of my head what it is. I know what it is when I'm playing with my wheel, just by like muscle memory, but I think I have first gear is low, second gear is low minus, third gear I believe is low plus, fourth gear is auto, fifth gear is reverse, no, fifth gear is high, Sixth gear is reverse, and then it does also have the push down, over and down reverse, and that is what I have neutral set to, just so neutral is mapped to something. But if you're interested in that video, go check it out. If you're playing on console like me, I feel your pain when it comes to winching, and I really don't have many tips here because honestly it sucks. Auto winching is just garbage. When in third person, it's basically useless as it grabs almost anything that isn't in front of you or what you're looking at, or it's a twig that immediately breaks. The only real tip I can give is when in first person the auto winch will grab a point immediately in front of you. It still may not be a strong point though, and it could still break, but at least it's in front of you. Hopefully someday as console players will get a movable cursor with the left analog stick for manual point selection, because it's painful trying to get the point you want sometimes. Completing regions to 100% can feel like a chore, especially with logging and contracts that have large amounts of cargo to deliver. The key here is patience, and if you're getting burnt out, then maybe it would be a good idea for you to switch regions for a fresh set of maps and places to explore. Now this isn't how I play because I'm just dead set on finishing a region before moving on, and I've had the game since release and I still haven't finished every region. I get burnt out too, and I've stopped playing the game for long periods of time, but I always seem to come back to it. I even have a second save file that I've played on just for fun while I'm not recording any videos, and I've been considering starting another save file and trying hard mode as well. New Game Plus in SnowRunner is a little different than the New Game Plus we know in video games. Since there really isn't a way to quote-unquote beat the game other than completing every region to 100%, New Game Plus in SnowRunner is really just a new game mode that you can set certain modifiers to tweak your game the way you want it to be. For instance, maybe you want a little bit more of a challenge out of normal mode, but you don't feel you want to go full hard mode. You can see all the settings here, but check them out on your own to see if this better suits you. I always say there's no shame in playing the game in a way that makes it more enjoyable to you. SnowRunner can be extremely frustrating, and sometimes it's just nice to play in a way that relieves stress rather than induce it. Mods are a touchy subject for some. I personally enjoy using mods, but I don't like the ridiculous trucks or the super overpowered ones. I do like mods that make trucks more all around useful. I especially like mods that add better trailers. Logging mods are an absolute must in my opinion, as logging is always extremely tedious. There's no doubt that a few of the modded trucks I use have some overpowered engines and tires, but I did complete the vanilla regions without mods, and I didn't start using mods until Kola Peninsula, which at the time was the hardest region in the game. Now the title is held by Amir. Olsum's Trailers is an incredible mod as it adds 4 and 6 slot trailers, and also some amazing logging trailers that can hold multiple sets of logs. I also really like this F750 Power Stroke mod. It's definitely on the OP side, but it's just really good, and I love the vanilla F750, so it just fits my style of play. The Zeek 605R is one of my favorite trucks. I used 2 different mods for that truck, as the one I used the most doesn't have a medium log add-on, so I have the second mod that allows that, which is the Grendel one. It allows me to put a medium log bunk. And then free the logs is necessary if you have any kind of log trailer that is not vanilla. And then I have this one just because my son's Switch doesn't, the Olsum's trailer pack doesn't work on Nintendo Switch, so I have that one on as well, so I can just disable the Olsum's one, and he can still co-op with me if he wants to. And the twin steer I have, again, for logging. I can fit a full set of long logs on the bed of the truck, and then tow a trailer behind it with more logs. I just hate logging, so I try to make logging as quick as possible. So that's really it. Those are my tips for SnowRunner. I hope some of these help you or give you some better insight into the game. There's always new players picking up SnowRunner as well with its seasonal content releases. I have an ongoing series here on my channel. I only started recording about a quarter of the way through Amur, as I had played all the other regions before I started recording gameplay for YouTube, but check it out if you want to. I hope you enjoy it, and if you found this video useful, please leave a like and subscribe if you want to. Have a good one.